Hello everybody, today we are here in Nova Scotia with the founder of Adored Beast, Julianne Lee, and we are at the facility where they make the product Adored Beast and they package it and ship it out, which is super amazing. We got a whole tour today.
It's really amazing to see how Adored Beasts are willing to show the transparency of how the Adored Beast product is made, how it's packaged, labeled, and then actually shipped out from here, which eventually gets to our homes and then fed to our pets. So it's just amazing just to see the transparency and them answering the questions that we have as pet parents and what you may have as pet parents, because they are willing to answer your questions.
So let's take you on that tour that we got today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
I can't believe you guys are here.
Yeah. We cannot
last
believe
year,
it
it's
either.
like, oh my gosh, now they're here.
Everybody knows by now we absolutely love Adored Beast products, but we even love it more now, I think, because we got to know the owners of the supplement company who makes Adored Beast, from the sourcing side of things and the way that how closely you work with them together. It's just great to know that the products are actually 100% what they say they are, and we can just fully trust not only you, but also the company who makes it, which I think today in the pet industry is something that is really questioned a lot. Not just the company, the brand itself, but also the manufacturers of the products.
When we were just talking right now, it was like, it really came clear how long it took me. But I started this project 6 years ago, taking it from the formulas from my vet hospital and putting them into the public. And I've been working with this company for 4 years. So we didn't start launching Adored Beast has been 4 years. And it took me 2 years was to find a company that I felt comfortable with. It's not a massive manufacturing company. It's called a compounding facility. So the owner, Leslie, is a human naturopathic doctor. So instantly we clicked. That was the first thing. And the fact that I could actually sit down with an owner that still has hands-on, I don't even want to use the word control, but involvement with the company was massive for me. I had spoken with and gone in to speak with really big, reputable human supplement manufacturing companies to the formula, to compound the formulas for me. And it was overwhelming. Like, I felt like I was in a car factory, like massive machines, and it was super interesting, and like kudos on them for being able to take supplements and natural products to that level. But it didn't feel right for me because I wasn't even able to speak to the head person that was involved with sourcing, or I was always channeled through these massive channels to try to get to somebody. And I never ever got my real answers or questions answered. Yeah. So when I met Leslie, I always say to her that I drive them insane. And, but it's awesome because we're so connected. Like we speak all the time, if there's a new formula coming up and we're sourcing specific ingredients, or I am so involved in all of that. I couldn't do it with somebody else. It's just a completely different beast than the big manufacturing companies.
Oh, here's the Adored Beast Cranberry, the Adored Beast Marshmallow, and the Adored Beast Enzyme Blend. This is the large. That is a very important ingredient.
Yeah.
And it's a trademark product. I've been very fortunate to find some distributors within Canada that I've met, that I've been to their facilities. I understand what their criteria is for their purchasing power. They go and visit these factories and vet the actual manufacturers.
I love your values, and I love how you put your values into the business, because it's just something that is almost lost today in the pet world. So this has been really, really inspiring for us. Thank you.
Welcome.
You were talking to us earlier about how when you had a shortage in the one of the ingredients in large, and you couldn't get that. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that as well.
From that perspective, this company falls into the standards of practice and stuff of doing professional compounding, so it's already way up here. But even with that in mind, we ran out of larch, and larch is in all of our products. And she immediately called me and said, we have a problem. Yeah. Our larch supplier just informed us that they have a shortage. So we are going to be running out of it. And this is what we are replacing it with for our naturopathic doctors, and everybody's fine with it. So is that okay for us to do that with you? And I'm like, absolutely not. It's not okay for that. Like, for people, I totally get it. Like, that would be fine. This, for me, I would not feed an animal. Yeah. I just won't use it because, one, I don't have 20 years experience using it. I don't know how it's going to change. I don't know what would happen to an animal that's taking it. But more so, that's not a prebiotic that I personally agree with. Do I think it's a terrible prebiotic? It doesn't matter. That wasn't the prebiotic that I tell everyone why I use it, and my research has gone into it. So I wrote a letter to all my stores and to everybody and saying that this is the reason why, and we could have actually done it, and there would have been no hiccups in you getting your products, but I can't do that. So chances are we're going to be back ordered with a lot of things, not just one little thing. Probably more than half of our products, and that's what I did.
So if in the future, if we make an order with Adored Beast, it all happens here, and you are the ones who actually put the labels on there.
We do, absolutely. So it's very important for us that we ensure that all the labels are stored in the right places. We certainly never want a situation where we put the wrong labels on the products. Yeah. So with Julie expanding her business, there's with this Korea and these other countries, we have to be really on top of and make sure. And this is my passion, to be able to ensure that I know where everything is and that my staff knows where, and we have measures in place to ensure that everything is double checked.
What happens when big companies run out of things, which happens all the time, right? So that's why this bylaw or whatever it's considered is put in place, is so that manufacturing doesn't have to stop. They are allowed to continue to produce and put in a similar ingredient that will get them through until they can get that ingredient back, and they don't have to actually change the label.
Exactly.
They're given a certain amount of time, and if they still can't get that ingredient, then they have to change the label. And
they don't have to let us know, the pet parents. Yeah.
No one knows. The stores don't know that are buying the product. Like, nobody knows. So long as it's within a certain amount of time, then you put the old ingredient back in before you have to change a label. I was shocked, I have to admit. I was really shocked that for people even, you can change an ingredient and not even inform the public. Just being able to know that, be able to work with a company that goes, okay, here's our alternatives, here's where they're coming from, this is what blah, blah, blah. We're often able to problem solve independently. Compared to a bigger manufacturer, you don't problem solve with a bigger manufacturer. It just gets done for you, right? Like, production is everything. So, and I'm not saying that's wrong or bad, but what I am saying is that's just not the way I roll with the company. Yeah. Well, it just keeps me going. I'm so glad it took me 2 years. I'm so glad I was really anal about this. I'm so glad it, and this just makes, like, it was just one more thing to say to me, this is where I need to be. Yeah.
And like, to us as pet parents, like, it makes us feel so much more comfortable feeding Adored Beast, because I love companies that that have people in there that are not sacrificing values for money, and because that's very much how we do everything that we do.
Well, that makes my heart happy, because it's not easy maintaining that integrity, because
I'm sure,
you know, the bigger we get, the more like everything becomes, you know, like stepped up, right?
So we actually open up the bags, we check the certificate of analysis and any other documents like the material safety data sheet, the allergen statement as well. So we want to make sure that it's the right product and the color is the same, the density is the same. So there's a lot of criteria, and we test everything here visually. We take the density, we take the tasting, whether it's soluble or not. So there's a variety of tests that we do, and we have a color chart also that shows the color of this material, so we know exactly what color to call it against reference. So we get a lot of very big orders.
It's true. I mean, we were crunching numbers and we were looking at things because we ultimately want to be able to have it affordable so that I can reach more animals and help more animals. But then we're looking at it and we're going, okay, if we flip into this machine, then we aren't employing 15 people that are actually hands-on working at this company. And I'm so about the bigger picture. So not just about the ingredients of what going in the bigger picture and how it physiologically changes your animal's, you know, body, but what is really the bigger picture? You know, like, yes, we have to look at carbon footprint. We got to look at all of that stuff, but we also have to look at what I call the energy of the medicine or the energy of the product or whatever. And when I know that there's actually someone's hands and somebody's heart, and that there's so much more to that with somebody doing it by hand. You know, are we going to have to go to machines eventually? We will, to a degree, but I will still be absolutely paying attention to what that looks like. Is there still, you know, I don't want to decrease the amount of staff. So we're going to have to figure it out. That's just sort of I'm probably the most nightmare business partner to ever have on the planet, because it's like, no, that's not going to work. You know, we got to, and I don't just shut it down. We find a solution, right? Like, it's like, how do we continue to employ people yet still get machines and not have to lay anybody off and keep this as a community? And, you know, like, even from a local, like, this is very local. Like, that's what I was saying to you. Like, there was this tiny little company, not even a company. And now when I actually think of what Adored Beast is touching, like, it's pretty crazy, right? And it's the energy of the whole business, not just the product.
Look at him. He has a lot to take care of. Yeah, here.
He does.
How many do you do a day? Like this?
Like if you don't have to make like all the encapsulations on it, you can like do like 10,000.
10,000.
Wow.
One person.
Yeah.
Then when we get the big Adored Beast orders, that just blows us right out of the water. So we need sort of special people to be able to look after the mixing and the bottling of this. And because they have two labels on the bottles, the one on the top and the one on the side, and the one on the bottom too, it's a little bit more labor than these ones.
Yeah.
Our retained samples. So every time we do a compound, we actually take about a 2-gram sample, put it in a baggie, put a desiccant in it. For the products that have probiotics, we store those retained samples in the fridge so that they're kept fresh. But the other products that don't have any probiotics, then we keep in here.
Wow.
And what do you do that for?
Well, we need to, on occasion, we need to go back and actually retrieve these, compare the retained sample of one lot against another. So all of the raw materials, we have retained samples, and all of the compounded products, we always have to keep for at least 2 or 3 years, we have to keep the retained samples so we can compare them. And so this shows that the product, the weight has been verified by another individual. It indicates which scale we use. There's the lot number that we provide, the date that it was compounded.
Like a lot of the big manufacturers would like in January make the products for the whole year. And then if you get to the end of the year, the product is already kind of old. So you do a lot of small batching for Adored Beast.
I like the idea that we're just making everything as fresh as possible. And the expiry dates that we put on the bottoms of their products will have, I think now, Dion had described it was 16 months from the date of manufacture. That's only because the probiotics that are in almost all of their products, we feel that this would be a very safe expiry date to actually put on the bottles. But they would probably be very good years after that. Maybe some of the activity of the probiotics would decrease a little bit, and their degradation is actually very, very delayed. So, and they come to us even more powerful than what the certificate of analysis says. So we may ask for a product that's 60 billion colony forming units per gram, but when we look at the certificate of analysis, it's often 120 or even 130 billion. So we're getting a lot more than we actually have expected to be receiving, which is a wonderful thing.
Adored Beast is like a beast to me. And I can't, because of all the animals that it's affecting and their families, I can't just take it and give it to someone else and go, awesome, I've heard you're the best manufacturer in the world and blah, 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 blah. Maybe I'm a control freak. I don't know. But I just can't do that. I have to be involved in it on a very grassroots, even if we're massive. I have to maintain that somehow.
It's I'm speechless, like, because you really don't see companies like this today anymore. Like in the natural field, you still see more of them, of course, but even with us, when we were actually looking at making our own food in Dubai as well, but it was so hard for us to find anybody who we trust. So we just said, no, we're not doing it.
It's hard. I'm definitely not saying that big manufacturers are bad, because I also feel like there's enough sick animals and sick people to go around from a business perspective to the end of time. And I feel like Adored Beast will attract and be and where we're supposed to be by maintaining the integrity of it. And it is a lot of work. It's a lot more work on my side. We have to employ a lot more people because I'm doing so much that I need help doing it. It either fits with you or it doesn't fit with you. And that's what my business partner and I have finally come to terms on, is that that's how it has to be. It's just going to fit with some people and maybe not with others, but ultimately it has to fit with me, because it's been my life's work and it changes as I learn.
Of course,
one minute I think I know everything, and the next minute I think I know absolutely nothing.
That has been our life too.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So it will evolve with me as a person, but ultimately I have to go to bed at night feeling like I'm doing the best I can with what I have, and that I'm going to learn and grow every day.
In today's pet world, it's so hard to find a brand that we personally trust. So today, coming here and getting this whole tour just showed us that it is possible to make ethical products that are great for our pets and that are ethically processed and made and brought to us. And it's absolutely amazing.
We got to see how Julianne Lee and the manufacturer get together and have a relationship to make sure that they deliver the best product as possible to our pets.